Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Amanda Ziade with WashingtonExec, and joining me today to discuss ways in which the government contracting community is recognizing veterans and supporting them throughout the year is Scott Altman, Space Operating Group President at ASRC Federal. Thank you for being here today, Scott.
Well, it's great to be here with you. Veterans Day is a big deal for me, and I'm looking forward to talking about it.
Awesome. Well, Scott, first of all, as a veteran yourself, tell us a bit about your personal connection to the veteran community.
Well, I joined the Navy and spent 26 years as a Navy officer, although I spent some of that time at NASA as an astronaut on assignment as a Navy officer, but retired from the Navy and worked as a civil servant for a little bit and then joined industry when we retired the space shuttle and I didn't have a ride to space anymore. But the naval community and really all of DoD has been a big part of my life. Made everything possible that's happened to me, from flying F-14s back in the day to becoming a NASA astronaut and flying the space shuttle. So really appreciate what the military did for me, although I also realize at the same time the sacrifices mostly that my family made. I mean, I know I went on cruise and was away from home, but for me, I was having fun doing what I wanted. My family just had to put up without having me around to take care of things or help with the kids and those kind of things. So the spouses really are the ones who make the biggest sacrifice in my mind.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks for sharing that and a bit about yourself there. So, uh, Scott, is your company kicking off any specific initiatives for Veterans Day?
So one of the things we've done really prior to Veterans Day, but with sort of a long-term strategy for supporting veterans, is we have an employee resource group called MILCOM for Military Community, and I'm the executive sponsor of that group. We meet roughly weekly, but have events to target veterans across our entire enterprise and provide that level of support, information all year round. And for Veterans Day this year, we're having a special program where we're going to have folks join, talk a little bit about what being a veteran has meant to them, and then try to get people to share their stories that are with us. So I'm going to talk for a couple of minutes about what being a veteran meant to me and how it's what it's enabled me to do. And then we're going to expect that other folks will jump on and share their stories as well. So I'm excited about that. Just letting fellow veterans understand that there's a lot of us out there and we can all work together to help each other out.
All right, absolutely. So going forward with that, how does your company recognize or work with the veterans community throughout the year?
So there's ongoing MILCOM meetings is probably the biggest part of that. And then looking beyond that, we have a couple of programs. There's one that the military started that we've embraced called Skill Bridge, which helps find military officers or military personnel who are leaving the service can spend some time with the company and see what life is really like on the other side once you put your foot out of the military community. The one thing I found while I was in the military is you have kind of a sense of community there, and you sometimes wonder, is that going to be there when you step out to the other side? And what we try to do with Milcom is provide that sense to folks that there still is a community out there. It's a little different than being in a squadron, but it's still similar. And I really was impressed. I was worried after watching TV shows about what life was like in corporate America, that everybody's backstabbing each other and trying to get ahead. It made me really feel good when I came to ASRC Federal and found a culture that was much more similar to what I knew from the military than what I imagined on the outside.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good point. Actually, it does kind of give you that perspective. So, Scott, you mentioned that you're executive sponsor of ASRC Federal's Veteran Employee Resource Group. What other roles do you play in these efforts throughout the year, and how does the rest of the company get involved?
So we have quite a few folks who are partners with American Corporate Partnership, I think, which is a company that helps provide, put mentors together with folks leaving the service. And I've done that for, I think, about 4 or 5 people now who have been coming out. And we just sit and talk about what it's like to make the change from being in the military to working with the corporate, where the similarities are, where the differences are, and try to advise them on things to think about while they're looking for where to land. That's been very good.
Awesome. So to close, considering the government contracting industry uh, and many of the companies in it are made up of veterans, employees like yourself, why is it important to you and your company to continue recognizing veterans and supporting them and their families, not just around Veterans Day, but like we've been talking about throughout the year?
Yeah, it does need to be an ongoing year-round thing because you do need that support, the change from military to industry, and recognizing that it's not just one and done. You know, one day, hey, thanks for your service, now move on. But recognizing the impact that the military had on them, the sacrifices that they made to enable, to keep our world and country safe and moving forward. So it's very important to me that the veterans that we have feel that sense of community within ASRC Federal. And I really try to encourage that across the board, not only in my group, but at every part of ASRC Federal and really across the industry. Because as you mentioned, there are so many of us who came out of the military and are continuing to give back by working as contractors and civil servants. So at ASRC Federal, we're really fortunate to benefit from having veterans on our staff. We have about 20% of the workforce with a military affiliation. And we've actually been named part of a five-star employer and best for vets. And we really see the value that veterans bring to the enterprise across all of ASRC Federal.
Absolutely. Well, Scott, thank you, first of all, so much for your service. And thank you for being here today and sharing a bit about your commitment to the veterans community and ASRC Federal's commitment to them as well. Appreciate
Well,
it.
thanks so much for giving me a chance to talk about that. I'm very passionate about it and very happy to be here. So thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Of course.